welcome back. Today I'm going to attempt making a fantasy map on paper I'm making out of used tea bags, and then I'm going to watercolor it. I have here a lot of used tea bags that I've already untied and washed and gotten ready. If you want to learn how to make tea paper, I have another video on this using tea bags, but today I'm going to try to make a fantasy map with them. So first off, I mixed my glue water mixture. To make paper out of tea bags, you're going to want to use about half Elmer's glue, half water. And then I was picking out the tea bags I wanted to use, cutting off the edges because I wanted to combine them into one big piece of paper, and I didn't want those defining edges kind of marring the look of that. Lay another piece over. Because I was going to make one big kind of piece of parchment, I wanted to overlap it a little bit so that it had some strength to it. There's my second piece for the middle. Cutting off some more edges. And then I added a third piece to the middle. I didn't actually mean to add so many layers to the middle. So then I started on the right side, added a piece there, overlapped it again, and I added a second layer. I didn't realize I'd actually added a third layer to the middle, so when I go back to add a third layer to all of them, I inadvertently added a fourth layer to the middle. Because of that, I ended up off camera adding a fourth layer to both the left and right sides because I wanted it to match and all be the same thickness. So this map parchment ended up being 12 separate tea bags combined all together. Normal tea paper, I just make 2 tea bags thick, so this was like double thick. Okay, so now it's been several hours and I'm going to see how it's dried. There it is. And then I got right down to work, starting on my fantasy map. This is a world that I've been working on since I was a little girl. It's from an unpublished novel series that I've been working on for a long time now. So you can't find this world anywhere else. It's just my own personal little series. The mountains were a lot of fun. I like adding all the little peaks. There's all these little different cities that come into play in the stories. Adding the rivers. And here's Yonwood. Yonwood is the main country in the stories. And here's a little rocky area where there's a lot of cliffs around this one city. Called Sitmar. This is a very exclusive behind the scenes insight into this world. And I decided to move that Y over. It was kind of crowding Sitmar out a little. Adding the capital of Yonwood up there. First I was trying to add the Y kind of squished beside, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna encircle the capital with that Y. And I really liked how that turned out. I was adding the river names, the Syrian River up there. I know this is probably all gibberish to you. But for me, I've been writing from this world for 16 years now, so it's not gibberish to me anymore. Adding some mountains over here. More capitals. There's like 5 countries that the stories revolve around. capital of Tenerian. Tenerian and Telmac are probably the least important countries in this world, but they do come into play, and there are characters, even some main characters come from there, so what am I saying? Poor guy. Poor Cohen. I'm sorry, Cohen. But he'll never watch this, so it's okay. The sister countries, that's Tenerian and Telmac, they are kind of work together. They move as one, all their decisions. Adding some more mountains. It's kind of satisfying. The Kodak River. Kind of crowded out the words down there, so I moved the and more mountains. Creshmore. Now that is probably the second most important country in this world. A lot of characters come from here, and a lot of enemies come from here too. The capital, Kiflon, another river. So in the fourth book, I very, very vaguely mentioned that there's an ocean, a sea, to the west of Creshmore, and I thought, hey, that would be a lot of fun to imagine. It's just the barest mention of it. But I was like, what's a map without an ocean? And I really, really wanted to watercolor it. So I was like, this doesn't have to be canon. I can just have fun with it. I've made a lot of maps for the books before, but this was the first time I'd ever had an ocean on there. And I decided to make the rivers where I could paint them little waterways. So instead of just being lines, I made them like little channels, inking and everything. With a waterproof, which is super important when you're going to watercolor over it, a waterproof cartooning pen. It was 0.1 thickness, in case you're wondering. I liked seeing the dark lines come on. Sometimes my hand really gets in the way of seeing it. I apologize for that. Nobody's ever traveled east over those mountains. I honestly have no clue what's over there. Some different cities that came into play in book 4. Book 4 revolved a lot around Kronar, so they got a little more time to shine. Book 1, book 4, besides that, pretty much unimportant. Creshmore, I added a raven, as you can see over here, and I added a rearing horse over in Yonwood. That's the symbol of Creshmore, is a raven. I don't know if you want all this lore, but lore dump on ya. Kiflon, a lot of things happen in Kiflon. You don't want to live there, at least in its state of the last 16 years. There might have been 1 or 2 peaceful years in there, but mostly you just don't really want to live there. The capital of Tenerian, adding those mountains. I think it's a really cool idea to have mountains and then shore, ocean shore. I don't know what's out there. I feel like some corsairs or something. Honestly, yeah, I think there's some shady people out there on the ocean. But maybe those mountains, I think, have kept them out mostly. Probably only Creshmore's had to deal with it. And they'd be the ones to deal with it. Like, no nonsense in Creshmore. You don't want to accidentally land on that shore. I decided to kind of make that be like, not just a river, but like a big reservoir of water of some kind. I don't know, like a big lake or like a melting glacier. I don't know, something cool. And then my very favorite part, I got to start watercoloring it. I added some really gentle green washes over a lot of the map. Super satisfying. The prospect of watercoloring is what inspired me to undertake this map project initially, so it was really fun to experiment with the colors and see the effects. And there's not a particular project that I really need this map for, so there was no pressure for it to turn out. I could just relax and not worry too much about messing anything up. Over in Sitmar, I added some like brown, kind of hopefully a little bit sandy colors, because there's lots of rocks over there. It's pretty rocky. And a little bit of brown over in Telmac and Yonwood. There's a lot of grassy meadows and stuff. And then I tried to add some darker green to indicate like forests and denser foliage around the mountains. There's a lot of trees. Then I started adding some grayish green to the mountains. Honestly, these aren't like super snowy mountains. I'm sure they get snowy in the winter, but they're pretty foresty mountains. And then I got to add to the rivers, add some blue. Again, it was a very like murky, aged blue. I mixed a lot of green, gray, and blue in there. And then that ocean, I was really looking forward to. Who knows what lives out there? My fantasy world is kind of renowned for not being fantasy. It's like I have a fantasy world where literally nobody has any superpowers and there's no mythical creatures. So maybe out there in the water, there's a sea monster. I don't know. I feel like there could be at least some pretty big fish. Adding the shadows to these mountains was maybe legit my favorite part. I don't know. All the watercoloring I was so looking forward to, and I had so much fun. Here comes the raven of Crushmore. The raven symbol is like on like the hilts of their swords and flags and stuff, I guess. And the main character in the series has a white, black speckled mare, so I like to make the rearing horse symbol white and black speckled just to kind of be a little reference to that. At this point, getting so close, the map is almost done, just a few finishing details. Now just adding in some cute speckling. And now we know, yes, you can make a watercolor map on used tea bags. Who knew? I think this turned out nicely. It was a lot of fun experimenting, trusting the process, and trying something new. Originally, I had the intention of ripping the edges, but I'm not sure if I'm brave enough. And as you can see, some of the words ended up pretty close to the edge. So I think I'll leave it as it is, at least for now. Start to finish, this entire project took me about 4 hours. I really hope this inspired you to make your own tea paper and your own map. If so, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for crafting with me, and I'll see you next time.